Yo guys, what is going on? So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to install this A-pillar here that'll hold 3 gauges for your car. This is not specific for any car, but I'm going to be doing it on my 2005 Subaru STI. So pretty much what I got going on here is I got some terminal connections here. Got my 3 gauges, most important one, boost gauge, air fuel ratio, and oil pressure. Definitely need that. Also need your A-pillar as well. I also got some 16 gauge red wire and black wire, just so I don't get them mixed up. Got a fuse here, add a circuit with some fuses there, some wire strippers, and also some instructions and some tabs to go along with this. So this one does actually have to use the stock pillar as well. What you're going to be doing is take the stock pillar and be drilling into it, and then on each corner just put a little tab in it to hold it nice and securely. But other than that, let's get to it and I'll show you guys how to install this. Alright guys, so we're in my car right now. So this stock pillar has to come out. First of all, I gotta move my Yoshi, unfortunately. Alright, so I'm not gonna say this for all specific type of vehicles, but on my vehicle I have to pull from this side all the way down, and there'll be about 3 tabs going down all the way. Pull it down and it technically should come out. So alright, so basically looking at these, they literally just sit right into each other like that. Perfect. And then what I'm gonna do is right in each corner, right here and here, one up there, one up there, and drill a 3/16 hole, and then there's actually these little tabs here which will push through and it'll keep it all in one piece. And also looking at this as well, there's gonna be no room to feed the wires through, so I'm gonna drill a hole right here so I can actually pass the wires through. Probably big enough for all the connections to go through and whatnot, so it's not a pain. So I'm just gonna tape all this up just so it's kind of clamped all together, and I'm just gonna start drilling.
You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends.
Alright, so I finished drilling all those holes out. So now I'm going to go ahead and install all the gauges here with the wiring attached to it. So once we actually put this on the actual stock pillar, I found out it will not come off very easily. So you want to make sure you get gauges on in here, wire it up how you want it, and then close it up, because it's going to be really difficult to open it up again. So let's go ahead and install these gauges. Alright, so here's my brand new boost gauge, AM. It's negative 30 to 50 pounds of boost. Reason why I got this is just in case I ever want to run more boost than 35, I always have the gauge to do it. So I'm going to be placing it right in the middle right there. So basically these should just slide right in there, and then just attach the clamp on the back. Alright, so it's having a little bit of trouble getting inside the holes there. They're probably a little bit too small, so I'm just going to go ahead and sand that. Alright, so I guess I got my boost gauge in there, and then oil pressure down there, and then air fuel ratio right up here. Alright, and before you put your air fuel ratio down in there, you won't be able to see it, but inside that hole right there, there's a little switch. You can change it to from air fuel ratio to lambda, or I believe narrowband as well, in both scales as well. So read the instructions, make sure you have the dial set to where it should be, and on default it's just air fuel ratio with a Y band on it. So I am all good. And they also have face plates too. You can change it to silver and white if you want a different look. So yeah, Alright, there we go. Got all the gauges in the right position that I want. I pretty much just laid this right where it's going to go inside the car, and then just basically lined up the gauges where I wanted them and sunk them in right there. Now all I gotta do, oh geez, just throw on your little brackets there and she'll be nice and sturdy. Then we'll do some wiring. Alright, so there you guys go. All the brackets are in place. So now what we're gonna do is gonna attach some wires here. So this is gonna be for the boost gauge and oil pressure. These two look exactly the same, so make sure you mark the ends on which one's which so you don't actually get confused. Then your gauges will be all messed up and whatnot. And there's actually two for the air fuel ratio. So there's a giant harness here and a smaller harness here. There's a 4-pin one and a 6-pin, so you can't get it mixed up on this one. And these ones, they just slide in one way. So we'll just roll that all together.
I stopped asking for forgiveness, 'cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go.
Alright, I know it's gonna look like a mess, but basically air fuel, boost, and then your oil pressure there. And yeah, again, just label all these wires so you don't get confused. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna feed all the wires through the stock A-pillar, and then we're gonna clip it all together so it won't come apart, and then it's gonna look very clean. Alright guys, so I'm not electrically inclined at all, so basically if I can do this, I'm pretty sure you guys can too. So I have some 16 gauge wire here, so I just use my crimper right here to attach a little connection right there. What I'm gonna do is right on this black one, I want to keep them color coded so I know which one's for which. Right there, grab the crimpers and make sure the wire's in there, crimp it real good. As you can see, give it a little tug. That's actually a solid connection. I'm using quite a bit of force. So there's that. So now I got these little T-taps here. What this is going to do is this little pin right here is going to sit right on the wire. This is going to sandwich it. And then on this side it has a little electrical connection where you can slide in a pin and it'll produce power. So on this wire right here, that's what we'll do. As you can see, got that pin right on the wire. And I think we're good. So you want to close it and get these as well, just to close it up for good. There you go. Once this little snap on the top is good, you know you got some power. Perfect. So we got one. Just gonna add one more, and there we go. There's two taps right in there. So I'm just gonna connect the other two grounds from each gauge, connecting them here. It'll be connected to the ground, and we'll run this to a nice bolt that's connected to the chassis on the car. And what I got here is these little flat terminals here. So basically, I'm gonna crimp this onto one of the black wires here. Same thing. There we go. A little tug. Perfect. And then from here, you can go ahead and take the T-tap and the connection, slide in that one end, and boom, now they're connected. Alright, and just literally do the same thing for all the red connections.
Some things never change, oh. Redemption can make you nervous, a tragedy.
So yeah, as you can tell, it will get confusing once you put all these wires together. So definitely color code it. That is strongly recommended. And yeah, all now we gotta do is just run this black wire to the ground, run this wire to a switched power source, so when you turn the key on, gauges will turn on. When you turn the key off, gauges will turn off. You don't want it constantly on power, or if you accidentally hook it up to your headlights, it won't turn on with your headlights. You don't want that. Alright, so basically this is what we got going on. On this ground, I just added a little eyelet so we can ground it to the chassis where we find a nice bolt. And on this side, we'll just add the fuse whenever I get it. So basically, all these 3 wires here, I'm just going to feed down this A-pillar and under the dash. So all the wires are going to be coming out of there. And then we'll go from there.
I stopped asking for forgiveness, 'cause you should know only.
Alright, so I went ahead and picked the dash that's under the steering wheel out. So I'll have a lot more room to actually weave all this wire through.
Into stone. So save your judgment, 'cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make.
Alright, so now we got the gauge pod all set up. Wires ran down here. So now we're just going to feed the main 3 wires with the connections. So for your boost gauge, oil pressure, and for your air fuel ratio. Also remember, I put some green tape on this one just to make sure I know that this is the boost gauge to hook it up to a boost line. Alright, so I got all the wires all cleaned up here. They're basically just tucked inside there. You can see the ground right there, hooked up. And then we'll hook up our power to this 15 amp fuse right there. And according to this, it's the radio right there. So that's what we're going to be tapping into. And that is a accessory, so once you turn the key, it'll turn on. Once you turn the key off, it'll power off, because that's what you want. You don't want constant power with these gauges. You don't want them always on. But yeah, so far that's what they look like. Yeah, the other wires, they're just fed through the firewall, and we're gonna go inside the engine to do the rest of this. Alright, so first of all, I'm gonna take the intercooler off because my firewall gasket thing, grommet thing is down there, and I'm gonna have to get this out so I can actually get my hands in there. So basically what I'm gonna do is this line right here, I'm gonna hook up my boost T to that. So put a T right in there, hook up the line, and then attach the line to the sensor to the cord, and they're already attached to the gauges. Oil pressure is actually under the alternator, so I'm gonna have to take this cover off, take off the alternator, take off the belt, and then right down there, you cannot see, but right where my finger is, that's where the oil pressure sensor is. We're gonna be changing that up to the oil gauge. And lastly, we go over here to my downpipe. Yeah, right there. I'm gonna have to weld a bung onto that, hook up an O2 sensor to that, and then hook up the O2 sensor to the actual gauge wire, and then we'll get our air fuel ratio out of that. Unfortunately, my camera's gonna die. I don't have the time to charge it. I need to get this done. So, it's gonna be done, and I'm gonna show you the end result. Okay guys, there you go. Just installed these gauge pods here. Got the AFR fuel ratio, the boost gauge, and the oil pressure down there. You can keep tabs on the car, make sure she's running good, and I'll show you guys how the wires are running. Alright, so I got everything put back together here because obviously I have driven it. So the grommet down there, I have all 3 wires coming out, and then I routed the boost gauge over here. I just made a T onto the what is this, the blow off valve here, onto the vacuum line here, so I just teed that off and then connected that right there, and then led that all the way into the car for the boost gauge. Oil pressure is down here. It is right under the power steering pump here. You just pull that off, and then there's a plug there. You just unscrew the actual factory oil oil pressure gauge there, and then you just swap it with that one and just route it back into the engine bay there, or yeah, the car. And then down there I had a shop actually weld a bung into my downpipe and then connected the O2 sensor there, and then that leads back into the car for the air fuel ratio there. So yeah, it's a basically pretty basic install. It's just welding. Most people don't have a welder with them, so I have to get a shop to do it. So there we go. They are working there. We'll turn on the car and show you guys that they're all working. The air fuel ratio, boost, and the oil pressure. So yeah, there you go. It's a quick, easy install for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. And we'll see you guys next time.